What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Beer Chasers. I'm Preston, and today we're going to be reviewing the sweet potato pumpkin beer that we brewed in the last episode. So we're going to crack it open, we're going to pour it, we're going to smell it, we're going to taste it, review it, kind of see what we liked about it, if there's any improvements, and maybe talk about what we could do the next time. So without further ado, I'm ready to crack it open, so stick around, check it out. Alright, so here we have the sweet potato pumpkin beer that we brewed in the last episode. We just went through the pour. So we saw it had a pretty good, nice bit of carbonation, but it's died down a little bit. Head retention's looking okay. There's a little quarter finger bit of head there. We'll go ahead and go for the rating, look at the appearance here. So, as expected, as Beersmith kind of showed, this beer is going to be a little darker than I think you would expect for a pumpkin beer. I think that Cara Brown kind of took it over the orange coppery line and put it more towards the brown. You look through it, you do get a little bit of that kind of orange and red, but it's definitely a touch more on the brown side. Carbonation-wise, you'd like to see a little more there than you would the ER. So for the rating on the appearance, I'll go with a 2.75. I think it's just below expectation. A little heavy on the brown. Head retention isn't quite as good as we wanted, but definitely not a total bomb. Let's go ahead and go for the smell. Get a nice bit of spice there on the nose. Not really catching any kind of graham cracker or pumpkin or sweet potato or really any kind of malt sweetness. Really the spice is the star of the show here. So for the smell, I go with a 3. I think it smells nice, the spices are good there. I've had some pumpkin beers that don't have any spice flavor or any kind of pumpkin, so I think it's right there with what you'd expect. Like, it definitely smells like a pumpkin beer, but it's not excelling, and it's definitely not below expectation. Well, the best part, what we wait for, the taste. Cheers. Ooh, holy clove. A lot of clove flavor. I think a lot of the other spice is kind of nice, but that clove is definitely out in front there. Wow, a little too much. Which is interesting because the mixture we used was a classic mixture, a tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg, ginger, allspice, and clove. So I don't know if just maybe when we mix it, maybe we picked out some more of the clove parts, or maybe this company's clove is a little stronger than your usual clove, so I'm not quite sure how to adjust that. I guess we'll talk about that at the end. It does have a nice sweet finish though. It definitely has a nice little bit of sweetness to it. It's definitely not like your Pilsner-y kind of crisp beer. Would I say there's graham cracker? I'd say maybe a little bit, I don't know if that's from the extract or if it's from the Cara Brown, but I do get a little bit of the caramel kind of gingerbready flavor. But again, right now the clove is just so strong that it's really making it hard to taste anything else. Let me take another sip here. Yeah, there's a lot of clove. Man, and I think, underneath it, it's just so hard to get to it, but I think what's there is great. It's just that clove kind of bombs your mouth up a little bit. Not really getting any sweet potato or pumpkin either. So, I think on the taste, to be fair and subjective here, I would go with a 2.25 or 2.5. I don't think it's disgusting by any means. It's obviously spiced, so it has the right flavors. It's just the proportions here somehow are out of balance. I think if you bought this commercially, you probably wouldn't be super happy with it. You'd probably buy one and be like, wow, that's so spicy, and I don't get much of the pumpkin from it. So I'll be fair, like I said, 2.25 or a 2.5, somewhere in that range. Mouthfeel-wise, I think it's great. It's approaching medium. It's definitely not light. It's definitely not heavy. It coats nicely. It's not sticky and cloyingly sweet and sticking around too long. It does have a nice long finish. Carbonation-wise, I'm happy with it. I think it's right there at the 2.5 volumes that we're aiming for. It's not prickly like a Hefeweizen, super bubbly, but it's not just like that barely carbonated like some of your big Russian Imperials. So I'm happy with that. Mouthfeel, I'll go with the 3. I think we met expectation. It's not blowing me away. It's definitely not under. So overall, where's that going to put the sweet potato pumpkin beer? I'd say this brew, as drinking right now and today, would be like a 2.5, a 2.75. It misses the mark. It's definitely not a home run. I think we're in the ballpark, So, kind of, what would we do to change it? And really, the big thing right now, the big flaw is that the clove. Just a big hit of clove. I don't know if this is a case of just mixing it better, or maybe instead of using individual spices, just buying their pumpkin pie spice that they've already pre-mixed. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to use these spices down the road for other things where I might not have wanted a pumpkin pie, so I wanted to have the cinnamon separate for other recipes and the other stuff. So maybe buying a pre-mixed, still getting a nice, quality one. Don't go get McCormick, but get a nice quality, one from the spice shop, just one that they've already pre-mixed. I'd be willing to bet, just from my experience, that I would cut the clove in half. So instead of using a teaspoon, maybe using half a teaspoon. I don't think clove is one of those things where if it was under, people would be like, hey, where's all the clove, I think you'd probably still get a touch of it and just enough. I think clove is one of those things where if it's too much, it's too much. And in this case, for whatever reason, whether it's the spice company, maybe this clove is way more pungent and strong than it should be, or if we didn't mix it correctly, or what exactly it is. But I would cut it in half just to be safe next time, regardless, and no matter where I buy the clove from. The other thing too is really, it's hard because the clove is so strong that it's kind of bombing the rest of my mouth, and it's hard to get a good assessment on what else is there. But from what I can pick up, I think I like the base malt of this. I do like the sweetness. If we're looking to go strictly by color and making this orange, I don't think the Cara Brown's going to do it for us. I do like the Cara Brown, though. I do like that kind of sweetness it's giving me. I do like the graham crackeriness, but I would bump it up even more. They recommend anywhere from 15 to 25% gives you a nice sweet caramel, and we put it like at 16%, so maybe ramp it up to 20. And maybe if I cut out some of the special beet or some of the caramel malts, maybe it'll help balance the color back down to where it's back close to being this color. Again, I don't think this is way out of proportion or out of the scale of possibility of what a pumpkin beer should look like. Again, the rating scale for that is very open, I think, anyways, but I think I would like to use that Cara Brown again, maybe use a little more of it to get some more of the caramel. Maybe ditch the special B altogether, maybe ditch the caramel and just use, that Cara Brown and some of the flaked wheat for head retention and body, and go with the 2-row and the 6-row, see kind of where that brings us. For the pumpkin and the sweet potato, we don't get much. And I don't know if that's because we're just using stuff out of the can. So maybe next time, we can increase the volumes a little bit. So instead of 3 pounds of sweet potato, 2 pounds of pumpkin, maybe bump it up to 6 and 4 or 6 and 5, or make it like a 10-pound kind of combo, maybe 5 and 5. I know some people out there also roast them too. So you can roast the pumpkin, roast the sweet potato, and kind of cook it a little bit and kind of get the caramelization of the sugars to kind of pop before mashing it. We could put it in the boil, and that's another thing, like a lot of things in brewing, like you can do this 3 or 4 different ways, and some people put their sweet potato in the boil. To me, it makes more sense in the mash. I think you're going to extract more of the flavor out like that, and you're going to start with that water or the wort, and you're going to kind of burn that down while boiling it and kind of make it a little more kind of sugary and sweet. So I think the mash is the right place, so maybe just using more of it and maybe baking it first to kind of bring out some of those natural sugars. So maybe double those up and bake them. We're going to cut the clove in half. I think 1.5 tablespoons of the spice mixture was a good mixture, because I think the other spice that are in there, I think it's balanced. It's just for some reason that clove is really popping. It's really, really hitting you hard. Other than that, I think I'm fairly happy with it. I think volume-wise, carbonation-wise, head retention, it's there. We're swirling it. We're still getting head. We're still getting bubbles. So maybe there's really nothing to change there. I was happy with the way it looked in the pour. Had a nice bit of carbonation. So, again, I think if we just fix the clove, and I think if we just boost the sweet potato, the pumpkin a little more, I think we've got more close to a home run. And I look forward to brewing this every year. This is something I brew around July and August to enjoy around October during Halloween time. So maybe we'll revisit this one next year. We'll give another shot with those additions and see how it works out. As always, I love getting feedback, especially in home brewing. I'm very passionate about it, and I know there's a million different ways to do things. So I would love to hear, what would you have done differently, even within the process we did. What were your thoughts on some of the ingredients and the recipe? What have you done in the past that you've had kind of, come out as a home run maybe? Or what are some advice you can give other home brewers, who might want to try the style, some things to avoid? So I definitely love to hear your feedback, whether you comment on the YouTube video, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, give me an email. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. So I think that's going to wrap it up. Not necessarily a home run at all. I'm still happy with it. I'm definitely going to drink it. It's definitely not a drain pour. A little heavy on the clove, but other than that, I think it's drinkable. So again, not always a home run. You always at least got to try and go to bat and see what happens. And this time wasn't quite what we were hoping, but hey, had fun doing it. Enjoyed drinking it. Got a good episode out of it, so I have no complaints. So that's going to wrap it up. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Preston. This is the Beer Chasers. We'll see you later.
Beer is good. Beer is good. Beer is good. drink some beer!